All right, so today, oh my goodness, let's talk about eliminating self sabotage. I need a sip before this one. All right, so ladies, just for fun, I would love to know what is it that you do? How do you support your clients? Perhaps some of you are executive women, right? What is it that you do? What corporation world? Where do you come from? What business are you in? I'd love to know. And I'd love to know too, how long you've been doing it. So for you, by you, let me hear from you. I like to remind you that before I started my own company, I have been in sales for a long time. And there's this pressure that as women in business, we absorb and we accept as truth. We are really embracing throughout business. When I went to the college, to the University of Delaware, I was going to school for business with a minor in advertising. It was sitting there teaching so many strategies, so many logical concepts, so many things that were in a textbook. Okay. When I worked for one of the top business consultants in the world, and when I worked with her 7 and 8 figure clients, we were doing strategy, we were doing structures, we were talking sales, we were talking all these things to implement. When I was working in the bourbon world as the state portfolio manager for Jim Beam brands, right, and Beam Suntory, and it was literally numbers and hitting the goals and going. And once you hit the goal, you keep going some more. It was go, 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 do, right? It's funny, but most of the things that we're taught in business are important, of course. But there's half of the information that they leave out, which is probably the most important aspects of it. I remind you of my brand. I talk about it all the time. Inner feminine beast. Y'all, I love my beast mode. I love the beast. I love taking action. I love implementing. I love, moving forward and getting shit done. That's so important. But you're leaving out half of it. Feminine beast. One without the other is empty. It's in the wholeness of the two combined that miracles and magic happen. So when we talk about the masculine aspects, and this is not just in business, this is just how our brain works in general, okay? Whether we are going towards goals of fitness, if we're looking to achieve love in life, if we are working towards hitting numbers for our company, if we are looking to whatever your goal is, there is logical aspects. We use analytics. We use strategy. We can be result oriented. We can be task oriented. We can be independent. We can, really make sure that we're focusing on perfection. We focus a lot on perfection. We focus on perfection. The thing is, that is the masculine traits. They are equally as important, but that's only half of it. That's only half of it. There's something really interesting that I'd like to point out. I talk about this with several of my VIP clients. And if you follow along on the podcast interviews that we've had, we've had some amazing guests, women that absolutely inspire me, multi-7-figure business owners. And if you notice, I asked almost all of them, whether it's Kathleen Cameron or my client Kimberly Olson, the Gold Digger Girl, whether it's we had Amira on here, Kendall Summerhawk. We've had even Chris Jarvis, who's partners with Jack Canfield from Chicken Noodle Soup the Soul. We're sitting here talking to them, and I asked them the same question: how do you get to the level of success that you've achieved? Amira Alvarez, she had a whole conversation about it. They all had the same exact answer. See, the thing is, this is not a theory. This is not just an idea. This is me telling you what works for me, but also giving you the support of other people who are achieving great levels of success. They all say the same thing: imperfect. Embracing being imperfect. Moving forward, gaining momentum, using the law of inertia, what goes in motion stays in motion, and not allowing yourself to stall. Being prepared is completely different than stalling. So embracing imperfect action changes everything. Because here's the thing, this does not mean throwing shit together, making it sloppy, and getting it done because you need to. This is saying, I always put my best forward, But I know my best doesn't have to be labeled or defined by somebody else's expectations, because nothing on the outside of me is a source of my success or happiness. That if I continue to move forward every day doing the best that I personally can, I'm allowed to surrender and know that through my feminine qualities and through being supported by God, that it will be fine and right. And no matter what, you keep moving. So what is the feminine aspects? I want you to appreciate surrendering, receiving, being versus doing, understanding that you're whole, that you can accept fluidity rather than just everything being so sharp. Supported, magical, dare I say. Yes, magical. I believe in magic 100%. There's so many things that the logical brain cannot understand, nor will we ever. But the more and more and more you question it versus then accepting it, you're going to screw yourself over. Here's the thing. It's really important to understand that you go first and everything else responds. When it comes to self-sabotage, you will never be perfect. I said it. You will never be perfect. Do you know why? Because I will never be perfect. Nobody is fucking perfect. It doesn't work that way. Because to who? What, I mean, who is the judge of perfect anyway? It's about accepting the fact that you are whole and complete. And these standards of perfection that we put out there are really just the ego, and it's limiting. And that comes from just half the brain. You are 5% actually, 5% conscious, 95% subconscious. And I always say that means 5% human or 95% spirit. 95% of you is being ignored when you concentrate on perfectionism. Embrace your wholeness and realize it's not about judging. It's about loving. You are alive. You're alive. You get to do this. Today can be the most magical day in the world if you say it is. And I say it is. And so it is. As a woman of my word, if I claim today to be the most magical day, it is. And it's important to understand that the more I create expectations, the more I create limitations, the more that I'm hard on myself, the more I'm going to stay put. I did not come here to stay put. I did not come here to dabble or try or figure out or someday maybe. I came here to live my life, the one that I get to live, to be free, to enjoy the ride, to help as many people along the way. And I can't help others if I don't take care of myself. And I'm never going to take care of myself telling myself that I'm not pretty enough, that I'm not wealthy enough, that I'm not fit enough, that I'm not ready, that I can't do it now, that I'm just not the person who, and I compare myself. It's never going to be that way. It's important to realize the more success that you have, and you will. You keep going every single day. You're growing. You're leveling up. You're moving higher and higher. The more and more successful you become, the more you have to understand it will never be perfect. The more you have to understand that you're not actually in control. You are not in control. You can take actions that are aligned with your aligned results, but you aren't the one that's in control. God is. The universe is. Anything can happen. Anything can go wrong and anything can go right. Your job is to control your mind, to discipline it. Discipline is freedom. Discipline to not label things against you anymore, but start labeling them for you. Because wherever you look is where you're going to focus. And wherever the focus goes is where the momentum goes. So it's about telling yourself what you want and being comfortable with the fact that you just want it. And when you focus on what it is you want and own it, claim it, make it yours, that's where it comes in. It doesn't matter about the process and it doesn't matter your credentials. I always say, honestly, this is important. I always say, fuck credentials. I care about results. Okay. I've never hired a single employee and said, let me see your resume. Let me see your job and where you went to school. I don't care about that. I care about the results that I know you can get me. That's what I care about. And when I hire a mentor, it's not like, oh, well, who did you work with? And I don't care about that. I've never cared about that. I always say, are you living the life I want to live? Because that's who I want to work with, right? It's about results. So for yourself, Stop giving yourself so many limitations and worrying about credentials. It's about, am I doing the work? Am I showing up? Am I committed to the vision? If you are, then that's all you have to worry about, because otherwise you are supported. You're supported. It's not about the checklist. It's not. You have to remember, it's not what you do that matters. It's who you are. So who are you? Who are you? Who do you want to be? And why is there a difference? The difference is always bullshit lies. There's stories that we tell ourselves that aren't true. There are beliefs. And what is a belief? A belief is just a thought that you think over and over again. It's a thought. Who controls your thoughts? You. Unless your thoughts control, well, the other way, you. You either control your thoughts, or your thoughts are going to control you. Your job is to control your thoughts. To remember that you are worthy. Do you understand what I mean by saying that, like, you legit are the child of God? Like, you are made as perfection. When babies are born, do you understand God doesn't walk around with a stamp saying, worthy? Oh, this one's worthy. Oh, that one? Psh, definitely not worthy. This one, oh gosh, pass on that one. No. Literally, you are still the little baby. You are that perfection. You've always been that perfection. But now you get to hone your power as a woman, as the divine feminine in the physical form. You are meant to receive. You're not just meant to do and be logical and analytical and result oriented. Yes, you can bring that forward, and that's important. But you can't forget what we have been brainwashed to forget. Our systems are so patriarchal that we've been taught how to do, go, systems. And all those are important, but it's half of the equation. It's not about learning how to be feminine. It's about remembering. And I don't mean female, I mean feminine. It's the energy of it. A receiver, fluid, intuitive, magical. All of us have that within us. And when you remember that and you align with that and you have practiced forgiveness, this is where you hone your magic. Forgiveness is not putting yourself on a pedestal and saying the things that you're forgiving are beneath you. Forgiveness is accepting that you've missed the mark and you're ready to let go for your own freedom. You're ready to let it go and to move forward and to let that old beliefs that have been limiting you, these old stories that you've been telling yourself, these things that are not true, to die. Because through death is beautiful transformation. So it's important to just remember, you've always been perfect in a very beautifully imperfect way. There is no right, there is no wrong. You here and now are worthy. And every time you tell yourself something that doesn't feel good, you have to take ownership and accountability in the fact that that's you that needs to control that. Nothing outside of you, no one, no system, nothing is a source of your success or happiness. It all comes from the internal work. So through discipline, through accountability, through responsibility, you can change and shift that. Anytime that you are hard on yourself, just remember, that's what love is. You must love yourself before others can truly love you. And so the thing is, we have to understand through love, there is often pain, but pain pushes until the vision pulls. When you experience pain, it's just showing you you're not in alignment. It's showing you turn. It's like hitting the curb. Boof. That pain, poof, is telling you to reorganize, not to spiral out and go off into the ditch, but to realign and focus. Not by looking in the rearview mirror, but by driving forward. Kindness. Be kind to yourself. And remember, you get to live this life. So every time that you focus on what it is you do want, you positively charge things. When you positively charge things, it helps you to create momentum into that area. So there's things that we can do and things that we can say. So for instance, one of the examples I often use is like when it comes to fitness. You can say, man, I really don't want to be overweight anymore. I'm tired of this. Or you can say, I'm excited and looking forward to being healthy and fit. Do you understand how they're both the same thing, but one has a positive charge towards it? How do you constantly positively charge things? You bring it into your awareness. You bring attention to it. And then you stay disciplined in making sure that you catch yourself. What is my least favorite thing? Who knows what my least favorite words are? One of them, try. I hate the word try because trying is not owning or claiming. But I promise you this, if you only take one thing away from, working with me or listening to these readings, stop saying the word try and your life will drastically change. But how do you do that? You first bring it to your awareness. Acknowledge it, embrace it, see it through. When we acknowledge, sometimes it's not pretty. We notice our flaws. And this is something that will never disappear. You're constantly, as a woman, growing in spirituality, understanding, embracing metaphysics, and really asking yourself questions. Every time you ask a question, you receive an answer. Therefore, you're going to expand your awareness. So as you expand your awareness, you're going to find and discover a lot of things about yourself that you've been punishing yourself with. But you're not a victim. So you can let it go. But at first it hurts. It's like, why in the world did I allow myself to think this way for so freaking long? And at first you get angry. That's part of the healing process. Pain pushes until the vision pulls. So then when you see the clarity of the vision of what you can do differently, you have to actually see it through. You have to stay accountable in making the shift. And that's through embracing your femininity. Your masculinity is the container of which you're able to receive, but the actual receiving is the feminine. It's embracing both, where you can find kindness, and that's where you create momentum. All the time. I want to let you know it doesn't stop. When you become a multi-six-figure, earner and a multi-seven-figure producer and all these things and whatever it is that you're focusing on as your goals, there never stops being new goals. There's always new desires. It's always going to be something new. It's always going to be something scarier. It's always going to be something next higher level. You're going to continue to grow. So if you don't enjoy the process of becoming and you don't really give yourself credit and feel good now in experiencing the journey, it's all for naught. Because you're never going to be whole. You're never going to be fulfilled by hitting these things that you put out there for your achievements. It starts with you and finding happiness now. And the only way to do that is to remind yourself of your divinity, to feel supported, and to enjoy what you actually have control of right here, right now. You can't fix yesterday. You have no control over tomorrow. Right here, right now, you can choose. That's what I said, choose. You can decide. You can decide to own it, to claim it, to be her, the version of you that has the courage, the power, the strength, and the clarity here and now. So every single day I test my limits. Every single day I do things that scare the living shit out of me. I put myself out there. I be vulnerable. I'm willing. But every day I remind myself I get to do this. And I remind myself how proud I am for doing what I'm doing. And I remind myself it's never just for me. I'm not doing this just for me. Yes, I'm doing it for me because I have a potential to fulfill. I have alignment to really, bring in. I have a higher callings waiting to emerge from the physical, but also by doing so, I'm impacting the lives of thousands of women. I'm showing my baby boys what's possible from their mommy. I'm creating a ripple effect. I'm changing the planet and raising the vibration. It's so much more, but it's not just on me. It's through the help of my guides, my angels. It's through the help of, of my ancestors and of God. All the things I cannot see doesn't mean they're not there. And I appreciate that and I support that. I remind myself that I'm supported and that I'm magical. I am not this meat suit. In fact, this isn't even a physical thing. So taking time to slow down, to actually smell the roses, to buy myself roses. Yes. Come take a tour. I seriously, I don't know if you can see them. They're there. I keep them in there to treat myself and remind myself to slow down. You must master this early on because things build up. Build the foundation. Make sure the foundation is super solid before you build a giant empire. Because if you build an empire on a foundation that isn't solid and has cracks, it will tumble and fall. You will burn out. You will stress out. You will forget your purpose. You will let go of the magic of why you're doing this in the first place. Slow down and remind yourself. So I encourage you really to give yourself love. Give yourself love. We did something recently, and I would love for you to, do this with me as well. In fact, you know what? Give me a second. I'm gonna grab my notebook. Ta-da. I often write myself love letters. I do. I write thank you letters all the time to God, and I write myself love letters about what I've accomplished, because it's so easy to focus on the things that I think I've done wrong, but there's so many things that I've done right, and I focus on that. And I often channel affirmations that really support me and help me to feel loved. I recently, let me see if actually, this might be, I told you I have journals for days everywhere. I wrote these affirmations that came through that really helped me to get through the process of self-sabotage. And I shared these with some of my VIP members, and I wanted to share them with you here. Let me see if I can find them. Ta-da. So many journals. Well, I will tell you what I remember them to be. The first one is, of course, I am supported. I'm supported. If you truly are a woman who believes in magic, who believes in metaphysics, who believes in spirit, God, believes that the universe has your back, do you truly believe that? If so, I ask you to stop using the word believe and say, I know it. I own it. I claim it. I know it to be true. And if you know it, if you know that you are supported by God, then why would you ever, ever doubt yourself if you know that you're supported? That's doubting miracles. That's doubting God. That's doubting, if you doubt yourself, you're doubting God, because you say you know you're a woman who's supported. Why would you ever? Well, because you're human, because you have an ego, and that happens. But you have to be stronger than that. You have to remind yourself everything here right now is not who you are, it's who you were. These are your past thoughts, feelings, and actions that got you here. But this does not define you. How do you change it? By reminding yourself that I know I am supported. So I am supported. I'm supported mentally, physically, spiritually, energetically, entirely, and unconditionally. God says I am worthy. I know I am worthy. I trust myself. I trust myself. I've been through some shit, and I know you have too. We all have, and these are our individual stories. But we know that as long as we keep moving, we can change it, because we decide to. It's our choice. And when we decide to, anything is possible, because if you're a woman of your word and you say it is, then so it is. What does it mean to be a woman of your word? It means when you say you're going to be there, you're there. It means when you say you're going to get it done, you get it done. But it's not perfect, Cynthia, but who cares? It never will be. Who judges perfect? Are you doing your best? And are you showing up, and are you asking every day, what am I supposed to do, God? How am I supposed to show up? And whose life can I help and impact? Well, then you screw perfect. That's imperfect. That's how you keep going. And if that's what you're doing, then you can never be hard on yourself. When you accept that you really are the child of God, could you imagine looking at any baby, your baby, if you are a mother, could you imagine looking at the babies and saying that this baby isn't worthy, that this baby isn't perfect? I don't know about you, but I literally sit there and cry every single day when I see my munchkins. And I cannot even fathom a millionth percent of how much God loves us even more than we love our own children. Our human brains just can't understand that. That's how much love you have. That's how supported you are. My goodness, you certainly are worthy. Remind yourself, I trust myself. I am not a gamble. I am here, and I'm capable, and I'm vulnerable, and I am willing. I trust myself, and I trust God. When you start embracing this, you will start receiving so much more. And I promise you, as you build and grow, these are the foundational things we must get done. These are the things we really have to absorb into our subconscious. These are the things that we must let go and recreate as a new foundation. Because we can't ask others to love us if we don't have the standard of what that looks like. We can't receive to where we can't even experience in our mind. We can't reach those levels without experiencing them. So I encourage you to remind yourself all these beautiful things because it always starts with you. And no, it's not a one-time thing, and no, it's not a two-time thing. It's an every single day because what you do matters. Every single day counts. And I want to remind you, if thus far, hi Sue Ann, nice to see you. Hello Tori, hello, hello. If thus far it hasn't worked out for you well, being accountable and keeping up with this mindset, then what are you going to do about it? You're the CEO of your life. You're the shot caller. You're the visionary. What does every CEO have? A board of advisors, people to support them, friends that are inspiring them, motivating them in the same circle, helping them to lift up. You want to be the smallest person in your life so that other people are helping you to calibrate up. So again, I created this Facebook group as a sisterhood, successful soul sorority, spiritual success sorority, because I want you to surround yourself with sisters who are there to motivate you, support you. Please, I encourage you to network. I encourage you to make posts about where you're at and what support you're looking for. And again, when I created my programs, I made sure to do group because I believe in the power of proximity and I believe in creating containers of women, because when you have high vibing people together, you will calibrate up. You will remain the standard and you will be reminded that other people are doing this process with you. Not just that, accountability is key. So this is my life purpose. My life purpose is not only to help women to see the possibilities, but to actually have the courage to say yes to themselves, to take action and to see it through. Not to just, think about how great that would be, maybe someday, but to do something about it right now. Because it doesn't have to be perfect. As long as it's your best, and perfect action is everything to get you to where you want to be. I'm living proof of that. And so I remind you, if you're somebody who has been thinking about this and considering this, I encourage you to reach out. We are here with open arms and we're enrolling. Tomorrow we kick off. We're starting our next session, getting into mastering relationships, of course, starting with the relationship with yourself. That's the most important one. And once you achieve this, everything in life changes because you go first. You set the standard. So again, Spiritual Success Experience, we are enrolling. The signature program for Mastering Relationships is enrolling. Everything closes doors by tonight, so please make sure out to Karina. If you're somebody who's on the fence, I understand, but I'm here to help to support you. I'm never here to convince anybody. I'm here to convey my message, shine my light, and call in those who are ready. So if you're somebody who would like a phone call or something to help to support you in your decision making, just know, I know you have a lot of questions for me. I'll probably have questions for you as well. That way I can really support you and make sure that this is a good fit for you. It's never my intention to get anybody in here to just work with me. I want to make sure that I get you results, because as my client, your results are everything to me. They're my reputation. Your success is my success. So when women come in and say yes to their success, I say yes to them. I am here to support you every single step of the way, to hold you accountable every single day. I don't care if it's Christmas morning. I don't care if it's my birthday. I don't care if it's Halloween. I always say Halloween because I don't know why, that's my favorite. But I want to make sure you understand that you're supported. It starts with you. It starts with you. And I'm here to help you. Ladies, you are beautiful. You are worthy. You are amazing. You're magic. You have no idea. Just remind yourself of that. And acknowledge it. Acknowledge that your past does not define you. If you haven't been kind to yourself leading up to now, or if you haven't hit where you want to go, that's okay. That's part of your story, but it does not define you. Embrace now. Embrace here as an opportunity to say yes. No more looping, no more going back, no more repeating stories and bullshit lies. Being the owner of your life, deciding that you go first, writing the script and throwing out the old one, ripping the pages away and throwing it in the trash and saying, I am ready. I'm ready to move forward and I'm ready to see it through. Acknowledge it, embrace it, see it through. Bye, ladies.